super crafter Lynn Lilly is here with, I've never heard of this before, memory jars.
Yes. Okay, so there is a big trend coming back. Everyone's been taking photos on their phone. You kind of forget to print them out. Well, there's new and creative ways that you can now showcase and share your memories with your family and friends. And one of those is a memory jar using your photos from different trips.
Okay, so how do we put it together?
All right, so we're gonna start with a jar. So you wanna pick a plastic or a glass jar, and then you wanna start with floral foam. So based on how big your jar is, you kind of pick out the size that you need. You wanna put it in the bottom of your jar, and then pick what you're gonna cover it with. So we're gonna do a beach vacation today. So we're gonna cover it with sand. So I'm gonna start with this bucket.
Do you have two different kinds of sand in here? Or is it the same sand?
It's the same sand. Some's a little white, some's a little dark. You know, maybe I collected this from over the years, right? But as I fill it, I kind of, and that's why we put protection down, right? So in case you spill that sand.
Sand is not the worst thing that has spilled in my craft room. I will tell
we were
you.
just talking about all those messes. So then also what I like to do is just kind of even out my sand to make sure that you can't see any of the green. And then I lower it a little bit in the front because you want to make sure you get a good visual of the photos in the front.
Now, is there a reason you're using floral foam instead of like styrofoam or something else you could, you know?
So I like floral foam. It holds up a little bit better. It's easier to kind of stick a pick in.
Okay.
I have a preference of using floral foam, and it's easier to manage. So if you need to cut it to fit in your jar, it's easier to cut and kind of maneuver versus styrofoam is a little bit of a mess when you cut it. Okay, so now let's talk about how we're gonna personalize it. Okay, so I've got a bunch of pictures picked out for my trip and a bunch of little trinkets, but I wanna add some different personalized message. And my favorite part from this beach trip was our first pool day. So I'm gonna use my ribbon and tape printer, and I'm gonna start by picking a symbol. And of course, it was sunny at the beach, right? So
I would hope so. Otherwise, it was a very bad day at the beach. So this is gonna commemorate
her first dip in the pool, right? Yeah. So we're gonna do first, and I'm gonna type this out, pool, just like that, day, and then I'm gonna end it with another one of my symbols, that is the sun. And I love this because I can pick out a font, so based on what the mood was of the trip.
Oh, because if you were doing something that was maybe like going to Greece, you might pick a different kind of font than like, let's say you were visiting China or Africa or whatever.
And then I wanna have a little bit on the front and the end of it. So I'm gonna hit my feed button to just feed it just a smidge because we're gonna make this a cute little sign. So I'm gonna hit print, and I'm just gonna do one copy.
So the feed button is that just giving you like extra space on the ribbon?
It does, yep. So it gives you a little bit of extra space. I'm gonna do it just one time at the end. And I'm doing this because we're gonna create a cute little flag out of this. So I've got two of my skewers here, and then we're gonna put some hot glue, and we're gonna figure out how long we wanna trim this guy. So ideally we want him to sit just like that. So we're gonna take some hot glue, and we're gonna put it on each one of our little skewers.
Now I see why you left the tabs, because you need a little bit of space in
Absolutely,
order
right?
to
And then we can always go back and trim it as needed, but I want to make sure
as a person who doesn't always plan ahead, I appreciate this tip because I have been known plenty of times to not leave enough, be trying to tie something on, glue it on, make it work.
We'd go ahead and trim it. So I've got one already trimmed for us, so you can check that out. So cute little message. So that's what we're going to start with in our jar. So,
and by the way, this would be a really great way also to do like for a cake topper, a cupcake, anything like that.
So we're going to come back here and we're going to push this right down into the bottom. So that's going to kind of be the center of starting our jar. Now, I've got one of my other favorite pictures, and we're going to go ahead and type Beach Babe. But first, what I want to do is switch out my cartridges. So what I love about this ribbon and tape printer is that it does print on patterned tape as well.
So Lynn, when you're thinking about this, do you actually like plan it out? Like I'm going to put 3 photos, or do you kind of like improv in the moment?
You know, I would love to say that I would plan it out, but I don't. I kind of improv it because I want to just kind of feel what feels right as I'm kind of putting the different things in. So for this, we're going to type out Beach Babe, because Beach Baby,
because she is a beach babe,
right?
Exactly.
So, and then again, I want to pick a font. So I'm going to choose, I kind of want to go a little bit more fun with this one. So we'll use more of a scripting font.
And you know, the thing is, I think when you look at, I always look at magazines and advertisements for references on how people are using typography and fonts of all kinds.
Yep.
And I have noticed that mixed fonts are very popular right now.
They are, yes.
And so I think people sometimes feel like if they use one font, they have to use it for the whole project.
Absolutely.
But really, if you mix it up, it makes it a little more fun and a little more contemporary, can we say?
Yep, and I love that because there's so many different fonts in this machine and makes it so great to do that. And then what I'm gonna do is just take the backs off of this and I'm gonna stick it right on my photo. So how quick and easy is that to just add the personalized touches?
I also like the idea that I could make a bunch of different stuff, sort of like how you have lying out on the table, and then you can make choices about what goes in and what doesn't.
So I wanna show you a few other things. So we created a ribbon that we're actually gonna tie on the knob. So we did that with our repeating ribbon pattern. So you can go ahead and tie a bow for me around there.
Oh my gosh, this must be that's not an easy task, but I'm gonna do it.
So you're gonna tie the bow around the knob, and then we did over here, so I found this fun photo that was hanging in the place we stayed, and I used our anchor symbol and just repeated it to create a cute little bow around that. So a lot of different ways that you can personalize, and of course, wherever we went, so we went to Rosemary Beach, I made a cute little flag.
Cute.
So we're gonna start to put these in our jar to finish it off. So I've got our picture of us, it's gonna kind of be our anchor right there, and then
I love how you cut around like a silhouette. That really, it takes the photo from just being a photo into something slightly more personal, more crafty.
Right, what I like about it is it helps actually the visuals of being able to see the photos behind it. So I'm adding little things like rocks to it, and then I've got these fun little jeweled rocks.
I know this sounds silly, but I sort of thought the rocks would sink through the sand.
No,
but
so that's the great part about using sand is that it holds up to these sturdier materials. And I'm using these guys because I feel like they look like the ocean.
Beach glass. They look like beach glass to me.
So what I'm gonna do is put our little beach babe right next to that. And then I went with my little clay and I made a cute little crab.
Super cute.
So he's gonna go at the very front there. We're gonna kind of shift him in right above, so he kind of hangs out with our first pool day sign. And if you want to go ahead and help me, just add some of these guys in. So all you do is
do you have specific places, or can I literally just put it anywhere?
So, and then what you do from the front is you want to come back then and kind of figure out what you can see from the front. So I know I want to put my little flag of where we went down there. And then I printed out my little map of Florida. So I kind of want to just stick that right in there.
This is kind of like a scrapbook, like in a three-dimensional jar.
And it's something fun that you can put out on your countertop. And how easy was it to personalize it? We just built that whole jar in just a few minutes, right? And just like that, you've got a bow. Okay.
That is super cute and a really also a nice gift to give somebody, a memory of something. And I know you have a couple other examples you brought.
You don't have to just do it for the beach.
Yeah.
So everything from a city adventure you can see here, we personalized the outside of the jars, and then we also added a fun ribbon to it. And then you can also do things like a family reunion. And
I'm even thinking like prom memories, wedding memories, a particular birthday.
You pick the occasion.
Yeah, and like it doesn't necessarily even have to be memories. You could do this as a gift-giving thing where you put lots of little gifts for like Christmas or Hanukkah or something into a jar and somebody gets to open them, almost like advent calendar style or something would be really neat.
I love it.
So many fun ideas.
So easy to personalize, which adds those personal touches. And you know, as a mom, I'm busy, so I want to add those quick touches.